The winner of the 2015 Royal Rumble, four-time WWE champion, two-time Universal Champion, and currently the longest modern-day holder of any WWE title. Hi, welcome back to the Square Post podcast. I'm Daniel, and that's Sam. And today, in the Anatomy of a Wrestler, we're going to be focused on Roman Reigns, the big dog and the tribal chief of the WWE. Sam, how are you doing? Okay. Yeah. So today we're going to be focused on Roman Reigns, who has probably one of the strongest. I won't say strong, but he's been booked one of the strongest since I want to say CM Punk.
Yeah.
Or Brock Lesnar.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Brock.
Yeah, Brock Lesnar. But except he's there.
And we'll get into Brock a little bit earlier in the show, by the way. I'm Sam, in case y'all didn't hear. So
today we're talking about Roman Reigns because his character, the evolution of his character is interesting. It's probably one of the most interesting case studies in WWE.
And I think the perfect place to start would have to be his upbringing.
Yeah, because
it's included in where he is now.
Yes,
and it all starts with the Anoa'i family.
Yeah,
and we all know the Anoa'i family. There's so many of them in wrestling, even still today. Like, of course, The Rock and the Usos and Solo Sikoa and
Jacob Fatu and Johnny Fatu, who are on the Indies. Jacob's doing really well on the Indies.
Yeah,
and Johnny's too.
And of course, we know how close Roman and the Usos are, and and of course, Roman's dad is one half of the Wild Samoans.
And the Anoa'i Fatu family is probably one of wrestling's greatest families. That's not like the McMahons or the Harts.
For sure. And that's not a knock on like the Hardys or the Rhodes or
the Ortons.
And there's more of them than those families. And I think like this family is so successful in wrestling, and just even Samoans in wrestling in general.
Yeah, Samoans have a great legacy. Tongans too. We have Haku. We have Tongaloa and Tamatonga in New Japan. Ooh, they're pretty close with the Samoans.
Yeah, and of course Samoa Joe is no relation
to any of
the Samoans.
But he's doing pretty well.
Any of the Anoa'i family. Yes. He is Samoan, but he's not.
He's not related to that. I think he's one of a few that aren't directly related to either the Anoa'i or Fatus, because most Samoans in this business are
related somehow.
Yes.
And I think from there we can go to you look at Roman's path to pro wrestling, and I think we can go straight to his time playing football.
He's one of those football players like Goldberg or Ron Simmons or his cousin Dwayne Johnson, who were like, I'm gonna try football, and then
him and Rock have had a similar path when it comes to going from football to pro wrestling. Roman played at Georgia Tech. He had a tryout with the Vikings. He had, I believe, something with the Jaguars as well. He played in the CFL
he was in the Edmonton Eskimos.
Yeah, that's what they were called at the time.
Yeah,
but they're called the Elks now.
Yeah. And then after he was released from them, he was just like, I'm going to be a wrestler now. He went
straight to WWE.
Yeah.
Where he debuted in FCW.
Yes.
In 2011, I believe.
Yeah. This is why Roman's interesting, because like around the time he started, I was actually getting into like FCW and NXT because I saw these guys come up and I was like, maybe I should like see who they are before. So I remember watching
Yeah.
Roman as Leaky.
I was already locked in on FCW around this point.
Yeah.
Like I was a full-on FCW guy, like because I loved the original NXT. And the Shield was gonna be a part of that original NXT's final season. And then of course they didn't have that fifth season.
Oh yeah, it was supposed to be them. I think Bo was a part of it too. There were a bunch of names.
Yeah, Bo Dallas.
Yes.
It was Bo Dallas, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Jon Moxley.
Biggie was a part of that.
Yeah, and Jinder Mahal.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember seeing Leaky and I was like, hey, this guy looks cool. It was still a dumb
Leaki.
Name. Yeah,
Leaki was his first name, I think he went with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Leaki. Then he was Roman Leaki.
And then Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
That we all know him by now.
And of course he debuted in NXT with the Shield.
Yeah. And
they weren't the Shield already by the time NXT premiered, right?
No, because I remember like Jon Moxley, who he was Dean Ambrose, and he also had a program with Mick Foley around the time that the transition from FCW to NXT was happening.
Yeah.
So they became the Shield in late 2012. So it's almost the 10-year anniversary.
Yeah. And the Shield itself, I think is an interesting thing to talk about because they are a legendary team in my opinion.
And a lot of people
I think their status as a faction like was at a legendary status because they
act havoc. Yeah. They did
like
everything.
Vince really wanted these guys to be the big thing in WWE. And I think he succeeded in that. And I think, and of course we all know that that was the guinea pig for Roman's future.
Yes. Everyone loved the Shield. Even when he won
sports,
that's why they turned face. That's why they turned face, because that they were one of the teams that people loved. So they turned face. And you can't talk about the Shield without talking about the Wyatt family. Like that match they had.
Those two, and like, now of course Cody talked about it on Raw last week. Like he hinted at it during his promo.
Yeah, the Rhodes was but like the Wyatt family versus the Shield is probably before FTR Briscoes, the first match, the only match I can think of. They got a "This is awesome" chant before a lockup.
Yeah, 100%. And especially the chemistry between Brody and Moxley.
Yeah, those two. Those two are awesome.
If you knew Brody and Moxley's past chemistry, you knew they were gonna put on something really great, because the matches they had in like CCW and stuff like that, like those were like really good.
Yeah, and so eventually the Shield. Well, I don't think the Shield ran its course, but they needed to pivot because of circumstances outside their control. By that I mean Batista mostly, even though everyone knows I love Batista.
Yeah, and Evolution coming back and everything.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Shield versus Evolution could have been a really good feud.
Yes.
If they didn't only have 3 matches.
Yeah. Well, actually, we can't talk about the Shield breaking up before we talk about that Survivor Series match.
Yeah. The one that started it all.
Yes. Because that match, I think, I was one of the only ones that still liked Roman at the time, but that match turned a lot of people off of Roman because they were like, I see what's happening.
Yeah.
I think it was 3 guys, right?
It was pretty clear which direction they were heading towards.
Yeah. Roman was the muscle of the group, which is actually a good role for him. Because I don't think anyone would disagree that Roman wasn't the best talker at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's why they had Moxley and Seth talk more. Especially because they had more experience cutting promos.
Yeah. Because they were both indie guys. Like Tyler Black.
Yeah.
If you know, like mid-2000s ROH, Tyler Black.
Yeah.
Age of the Fall. Jimmy Jacob. Like that stuff is legendary for ROH.
Yeah. Tyler Black versus Bryan Danielson. one of the best Ring of Honor matches I've seen.
Yes, and also John Moxley is John Moxley. Like,
Yeah,
he's
we
still
all
one of the
know
best
how good he
promos in the
is.
business.
Yeah, still to this day.
Yes, Seth has kind of gone up and down depending what
depending what character he does.
Yes.
Like,
but yeah,
we'll get into an episode of him, because I think his career is just an interesting one day.
Yeah.
But back to Roman.
Yeah.
And that the build up towards WrestleMania 30, I think, was interesting, because going towards WrestleMania 30, they were hinting at they were hinting that can they coexist stuff.
Oh yeah.
Even during that Mania match.
Yeah. But yeah, so we know what happened. Seth Rollins took a chair to Roman Reigns' back, and we were after the race of the Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
But even then, you could tell that like Roman Reigns was the guy that WWE wanted to push. Mm-hmm. And I'm probably, like I said before, I'm probably one of the only people that did not hate Roman Reigns back then. Like, I actually liked Roman back then. It got annoying after a while, but right after the Shield, like, he was cool.
Yeah, I was at first on the fence, but then I knew what they were trying to do, and I was like, no. Because I still wanted Bryan to be the top guy at that point.
Yeah, because like Bryan's ascent and Roman's
which we talked about last week.
Yeah, they came at the same time, which like made it easy for people to pick sides, and they did not pick Roman's side.
No, not at all. Especially after that Rumble win.
Yes,
after the 2014 Rumble win, it was all over for Roman.
Yes, like
even the year after.
Yeah, because I remember
year after was even worse.
Yeah, the year Batista won. It was Batista and Roman 2014. In the final two. Yeah, if Roman won, I don't think it would have been hated as much. I think that's the only time that Roman could have won that it would not have been hated, because people did not like Batista.
Yeah, I mean, Batista was booed out of the building, if I remember correctly.
Yes, because like they loved Bryan, but they also like, this is, I think 2014, 2015 is when like the hate towards part-timers started.
Yeah,
because you had like Brock, who was just like,
Brock was just there.
Yeah,
and he came in and out, and
Brock did what Brock wanted. Like, Brock has always done what Brock's wanted. But that was when like part-timers started to become like, hey, they're here. That's awesome too. They're here. Why are they here?
Yeah.
And Batista fit that more, because Batista had a Hollywood career. He came back. He won the Royal Rumble,
he literally shot Guardians of the Galaxy, then came back at the Rumble in 2014
and
won, got booed out of the building. Then of course we know what happened at WrestleMania 30, which we talked about last week.
Yeah.
But on Roman's side, I think that shift from Shield is broken up to Roman, what the hell, was almost instant.
Yeah, because like the Survivor Series match the year before, like when Roman eliminated 3 people all by himself, that's when people were like, you know, I think they want to push this guy.
Yeah, like, I think people had a feeling.
Yeah, and like they saw it happen. Like, I don't want to say instantly, but like it was kind of quick from the time that Roman got the chair to his back to when Roman started his ascent to the top.
Yeah,
and people did not like that, because Dean Ambrose, John Moxley, Dean Ambrose, like he was loved. Like he
still is.
Yeah, like he was the popular guy back then. Even Seth, he was more popular.
Yeah, that as soon as you hear that, everything came unglued.
Yeah, and so they picked their favorites. They always will. And
because that's the WWE fandom mindset.
And AEW. I think AEW fans it's pretty much wrestling fans.
Yeah. But like you're saying,
Roman's had his favorite, and the fans had theirs. And if they coincide, that's great.
And Vince and the fans always butted heads around that time.
Yes. So, but yeah, I don't think we need to get into too much more detail, but eventually, like, he won titles. He won
Yeah,
the
he
WWE World Heavyweight. He lost it to Triple H, which is still a
at the
weird,
Royal Rumble
yeah, which is still a weird booking decision, but he won it back. And then, like, we saw
at
him mixed up with
Mania,
Authority.
which that Mania is not one of the better WrestleManias.
I think they could have had Dean Ambrose because, like, Earl Dean versus Hunter was such a good match.
Yeah.
This is
And
becoming
I
a Dean
think,
Ambrose episode.
yeah, and I think that match between Hunter and Roman at WrestleMania could have been so much better.
Yeah.
Like they could have shortened the time a little bit.
That was just not a well-received Mania, if I remember correctly.
No, not at all. Like it wasn't, to me, it was obviously because of Roman's ascent.
Yes.
That they had negative reactions. But
yeah.
I'll say this. The card on paper looks fantastic. But when you watch it, it's like, and you go back and remember how people were feeling, you go, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like to an extent.
There are a bunch of those cards that look good on paper, but like are like they aren't the,
especially around that time.
Yeah, because like I don't know if it's, but like storyline wise, because like now, like you have those cards where like even if the storyline doesn't work, like the performers they make it good. But around that time, it was kind of like it was weird, like timing wise, match wise, it was just weird. But yeah, that was WrestleMania 2016. But and another important part of Roman's story is his leukemia diagnosis.
Yeah, which
Well, I mean, I don't want
happens
to say
in
diagnosis, but like
in 2018, I think.
Yeah,
18 or
2017.
19.
Yeah.
2019, yeah.
Yeah, because like he had to leave. He had to vacate the title.
Yeah. So just want to preface, before that, the Shield was brought back together.
Yeah.
In late 2017.
Seth was a face because like he and Hunter had their own issues. Because like Hunter one chose KO, which was a weird thing that never got explained, but not important. But yeah, so Roman has to leave. He gets leukemia.
Yeah.
And thankfully in a couple of months he's like
he said, I'm back.
Yes. And like we all know
and
what
that
happened
I think it's an iconic moment when he says, I'm back in remission, y'all.
Yes. And then like the Shield, I mean, Seth came out. And
yeah,
then,
that Shield hug and everything.
Yeah, because like before that, what was it? Ambrose had turned on Seth.
Yeah.
And then they got back together because like Dean was leaving, and we know what happened with that.
Yeah, Moxley left it, and like they were pushing, trying to get Moxley to resign and everything, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously it Moxley just didn't want to do anything with WWE anymore, and
he was done.
Yeah.
But also another important part of Roman's story is that Braun Strowman food.
Yeah, I guess we can talk about that.
Because like Roman made Braun look like a star.
Yeah.
I don't think he was, but Roman made it look like he like that was like Braun's high point in my opinion.
Yeah, and that was during the whole Shield versus Dogs of War stuff, right? With Corbin and McIntyre.
Yeah. That was, I don't want to talk about that storyline, but like that Braun versus Roman part was like Braun was lifting over trucks and like
Yeah.
And then a bunch of other stuff happened that we don't really need to get into because it involves dog food being thrown on people.
Yeah.
So let's just move on to,
needless to say, it was absolutely atrocious.
Yes. So let's talk 2020. Roman versus Goldberg. And then Roman's like, my
No,
health is too important for this. So you all have
because
fun.
COVID
I will
had
be at
just
home.
hit.
Yeah. Yeah, you all have fun. I'll be at home.
Yeah.
And so they made Braun Strowman champion, and then they made the Fiend champion. And then
they had a 3-way.
And then the Fiend versus Braun was probably not well received. Like,
no, not at all.
That whole feud was weird. And so Vince
Just
had an idea
about the Fiend era of Bray Wyatt.
Oh, we could get into that. We're not going to.
That's going to be a whole episode in itself.
Yeah. And then Vince had an idea, like Vince does. He called up a star. And he asked Roman, hey, so COVID's dying down. We're taking much more safety precautions. You in? And Roman, like the company guy he is, was like, sure, what do you got for me? And what they had was Paul Heyman without Brock Lesnar to manage.
Yeah.
No clear top star on SmackDown. No clear heel on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And Roman has said before.
Corbin.
Yes. Okay, yes. But if Corbin's your top heel, then that is an issue.
Yeah.
And Roman has said before, if it wasn't for the tribal chief, he might not have come back.
For sure.
Yeah. So
if he kept like all the Shield stuff and everything, like he was beforehand.
We should do a top 10 gimmicks. But anyway, that's not fun.
Yeah.
But Roman comes back, he spears, he looks at the tile, he throws it down, and then the next week on Raw, Vince is like, you know what? Oh, sorry, not Raw, SmackDown. That's fine. He was like, leave it. And then he sends Adam Pearce around, and then you see Paul Heyman. And then the next pay-per-view, Roman wins the title, and the rest is history.
Yeah, because as we're recording this, Roman is still champion.
And Roman's probably going to be champion until not Backlash, the pay-per-view after. Not Hell in a Cell, SummerSlam. Yeah. No, sorry. I don't think it's Cody. We'll discuss that in a little bit. Yeah. But like we'll talk about that. Sorry, I got off track there. There are three main important things to consider when you talk about the first year. I mean, not year, but like first couple of months of Roman's reign.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens.
Yeah. I want to say straight up, Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns around that time was perfect for the Thunderdome.
Yeah. Even though they had that weird spot in the last man standing match.
This was such a fun feud to watch. Because it wasn't really Roman versus KO a billion times.
Yeah. And then there's the Jey Uso feud, which that feud could have been so much better in my opinion.
Oh, 100%. It's WWE.
Yes, because like you had Jay like not be cool with Heyman or his cousins
at first, yeah. Which by the way, Jey Uso as a singles guy was surprising because if you would have asked me which Uso could have gone solo, I would have said Jimmy right off the bat.
Yeah.
But after seeing what Jay can do in there by himself.
Yeah, Jay won the
I think it's fair to say if they both went solo, I think they would both have a lot of success.
Yes. Jay won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal during this time too, because they were like pushing the idea of like, hey, it might be Jay. It wasn't, but
yeah.
But yeah, that Jey Uso feud was important in like establishing his character of like family. Because like now we all know he like his main thing is like the bloodline, which is what they call it.
Yeah. Which is where the Samoans came in. I believe it was at the Rumble last year.
I think it might. Last year.
Yeah, where they put the lay on Roman and.
Yeah, that was last year.
At the end of the show there.
Yeah. We also should talk about that triple threat: Edge, Daniel, and Roman.
Yeah, the triple threat at Mania 37 between Bryan Danielson, Edge, and of course Roman Reigns was
the feud
really
to get
good.
There was weird because like you had like
and it's the whole thing that we were talking about last week about Bryan Danielson being in every single triple threat ever.
Yeah, because you had I don't want to get into the mindset, but like they did the feud. Edge was being Edge, and so the match was good because the match it was like Roman's dominance. Essentially, he stacked them, as he says a lot.
Yeah.
So I think winning against those two, I don't want to say established, but like it was like, yep, he's here for you.
Yeah.
And then he sent Daniel packing. Well, not packing. Like we know what happened with that. Like
he sent him to Jacksonville, basically.
Yeah. Yes. And like after 400 days as champion, I could kind of see where they were going with this title.
Yeah.
Because he had Cesaro, he had Goldberg. Like they had to do the Goldberg match. I don't know why, but they had it. Went ahead and said that Roman was the Goldberg was like big match. So he was like,
if it was like Shield Roman, okay, I would have been fine with that. Like if it was like post Shield, like immediately post Shield Roman, I would have been fine with that. But this is Tribal Chief Roman. This is a different Roman. Like
that sit down interview was weird because like Goldberg was talking about like what was it 15 years ago. He was like, yeah, 15 years ago I would have like beat Roman, and Roman was playing football 15 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think Goldberg knows Roman has only been wrestling for 12 years.
Yeah. So but that
I think he thinks Roman's just another indie darling.
Yeah. I wish we got the Hardy match though, with Hardy versus Roman.
Yeah, Jeff versus Roman. Jeff wanted it.
Yeah, and then instead we got Cena came back. That was good. I forgot.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yes.
This felt nostalgic.
Yeah, because it was the always, because like before we didn't talk about that. But like in his like post Shield run, it was Roman versus John Cena.
And which, Cena, by the way, that promo is one of my favorite promos ever.
Yeah, I was going to talk about it. Yeah, and Cena like watched him in promos. Like there was no contest. Like
John Cena. Straight up.
Yeah. But this time, I don't want to say Roman watched him, but Roman held his own against John.
Yeah, 100%.
And he really established that he could be the guy. Yeah. Because like a lot of people had doubts that no one had doubts that Roman was the next John Cena, but that was for reasons that not Vince's favorite reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah,
a lot of people made a comparison to John Cena for Roman Reigns because of the way they were both pushed.
Yeah. But Roman held his own. He held his own in the ring. And then we get to the third important part of the Tribal Chief story. Because after the match, one guy showed up. Cowboy Brock. And I know he's your favorite, so I'm going to let you talk about him.
Oh my God, this was so cool. I was in here going, Brock's got a ponytail? Huh. Oh my God, this is gonna be fun. Because everybody was talking about it earlier in the week, how like Brock was at a butcher shop, at a YouTuber's butcher shop, and like,
oh yeah,
with the ponytail and everything, and everybody was talking about it, and like I certainly didn't believe them. I was like, "Are you sure that's Brock?" And then when he showed up with a ponytail, I went, "Oh my, here we go." I was,
because like ready, no one knew what Brock was going to do.
Be a lot of fun.
Because like again, we talked about Roman. Yeah. Brock said before he considered himself retired. He had done everything he needed to do. He just wanted to go home, chill with his family. And then Vince called and was like, "Give me $1. Give me an amount." And then Brock was like, "Okay." And then he came back. And this is the reason that you can't talk about the Tribal Chief character without this feud. Because I was one of the first critics. Well, not the first. I was a big critic of this feud because like it was the same thing. Oh, we've talked about this before. How much I did not like this, because Brock was full-time, but he was also not part-time, but like there were weeks he didn't show up. And in those weeks,
Yeah.
it was systematic. Roman was angry.
Yeah.
Paul was just back there scared. Jay
Yeah.
was just like, yeah, everything's cool. And Jimmy always looked at Roman like he wanted to super kick him. That was their dynamic. And it stayed the same way.
For weeks.
For months. And then all of
a sudden Brock came back.
Yes. And it kind of shifted things.
Havoc.
Yes. Because like this made Roman paranoid. Because we don't need to discuss like Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. Like that's probably one of the most famous pairings in all of wrestling.
Talked about that dynamic over the past few months, and like
that's one. Yeah, so
I think it's pretty safe to say, that is like the all-time dynamic duo when it comes to manager, big guy.
Yeah, and Roman knew that.
Mm-hmm.
So Roman was paranoid every time because Brock played into it.
Yeah, Brock was doing all this thing, and like he was talking about, he was like teasing having Heyman back in his corner, and which he did on Raw for like 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah. But Roman was paranoid, and that led to the moment you talked about, where like Paul says, "I'm not protecting Brock Lesnar from you. I'm protecting you from Brock Lesnar." And then Roman turns on him, and like everyone is like, "Nope, nope. This is not a fall, but like this is
this is
a plan by Roman and Paul."
Yeah,
it wasn't though. It was just like but like we thought it would happen at day one, and obviously we know what happened at day one. So Roman came back.
Which I'll just say this for that one. What the hell? He should have stayed champion, but
we'll talk about that in like a little bit, because like Roman eventually did come back, and this time he was without Paul Heyman. And in my opinion, that added a new dynamic to the character, because like every time we've seen this character, it was with like Paul Heyman talking. So Roman by himself was interesting, and in my opinion, they should have kept it going longer. But like that's neither here nor there. Roman came back. He was still the same paranoid, and this time he had another reason, because Adam Pearce was like, you know what? I'm just gonna give a title shots like they're candy. Who wants one? Who wants one? Oh, you. And then out came, I'm not going to call him by his new name, Seth Rollins.
Yeah, which that was interesting, but I love the shout out to Mox.
Yeah, and Seth in his own steel gear. Yeah,
because Mox had just recently come back to AEW.
Yeah,
from rehab and all that stuff, and leading up to the match at Royal Rumble between Seth Rollins and Roman, he gave a shout out to Mox. He called him Mox.
I was so
he didn't say Ambrose.
Yeah, I thought he was going to say Ambrose if he ever
me
did
too.
That,
but Seth, being a good guy, I guess was just like, Mox, that's my guy.
And then they had that match at Royal Rumble, which it was good.
It was a Shield match.
Yes. And it ended with Roman getting DQ'd, which in my opinion should give Seth another title shot, but they had other plans.
Yeah.
And then later that night, it was Brock versus Bobby, and Roman came out, and like he and Paul Heyman got back together.
Yeah.
And this was a more confident Paul Heyman now. Now that they've been away and together, like Paul Heyman's very confident. Except for that one weird thing where he was just like, Brock's fight landed, he's here, and he was just yelling, and Roman was like, take us home, I'm gonna leave. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, he cost Brock, and then Brock wins the Royal Rumble, which we do not have enough time in the world for me to describe how much I hated that decision, but it happened.
Both Rumble matches, we talked about it on the show.
Yes, and
I
can complain about it for another hour. Anyway, Brock wins.
You guys can go watch our show.
Yeah,
earlier on.
we covered
We covered it, I think, on the first episode.
The third, the third.
Yeah.
Brock wins the Royal Rumble, and then they decide to see how annoyed I can get with them.
Yeah.
And they put Brock in the Elimination Chamber with Bobby. With Bobby, who else was there? Austin Theory, Matt Riddle, AJ was there, I think.
Yeah, AJ was there.
What am I missing? Not Ray. Ray wasn't there.
No.
It'll come to me eventually, but
yeah.
I think it was Orton. No, Orton is busy with the tag.
No, Randy was in a pre-show match, I think.
Yeah, he was with whatever. And it doesn't matter because the ending we all figured would happen, and Brock Lesnar became the champion. And on the same show as we talked, Roman beat Goldberg.
Yeah.
And so now we were all set for Roman versus Brock at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I was actually excited. I tricked myself into thinking, hey, this is going to be interesting because this is a dynamic we haven't really seen before.
I was kind of sold on it too. Like
I thought it would be interesting.
After that chamber, I was like, okay, this could be interesting, but I wasn't completely like all in. I'm gonna buy the merch. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I was like, I'll hold on till at least the week before Mania just to see how the build goes.
They had a Brock Roman match. That was it.
Yeah.
Nothing more. And it would be hard to do something less.
Yeah.
But they had a ref bump too, which shocked me because of all the matches to do a ref bump.
A Brock and Roman match.
Yeah.
Which.
Okay. Well.
Okay.
Well, Roman wins. Now he's the unified WWE, and this is what we were going to talk about at the beginning. I don't see it happening, staying that way for long because, like I've told you, my fantasy booking. You call up Braun Baker at SummerSlam, you build him up like a monster, and then at Royal Rumble, you do Braun versus Roman. Braun wins, and you put over the guy you think is going because.
And we all know Cody's going to have the WWE title.
Yes, I've said it since what was it? Yeah, he passed 400. The guy that beats Roman, it can't be anybody. It can't I love Drew. It can't be Drew. I love Knock. Can't be Knock. I love Bobby. Everyone knows I love Bobby. I've talked about it at length on this show.
Yeah.
It unfortunately can't be Bobby. The guy that beats Roman has to be a guy that they see as leading the company for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Nothing more. I mean, a lot more, but nothing less than that after this reign.
Like, I think Breaker will be Universal Champion. And Cody will be WWE Champion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that.
Like come WrestleMania LA. That's where they'll go.
Yeah. WrestleMania LA is a whole different story because then we get into my favorite part of the story where we actually talk about the stories. Then
so we mentioned it earlier in the show.
Yeah, because The Rock mentioned it too on his own show.
He had a little 8-year-old Roman pointing and saying, "Acknowledge me," which I think was really cool.
Yeah, and then he said he had his character. Well, I don't know if it was him, but
it
Brian
was
Gervitz, who was Brian Gervitz writes for the show, so I think it was Brian. But he had
really?
He
I didn't know that.
Brian Gervitz, who is a former WWE writer and has pretty much worked with Rock for who knows how many years now.
For like 25 years at this point.
He basically had Rock's character say, "Not right now. A match that big can only happen at WrestleMania." Which, if you're not watching,
can only mean one thing.
Which, if you're not watching the product, it could just have been like a cousin trying to get his young cousin to stop. However, if you're watching the product, you saw it as something different. You saw it as The Rock being open to a WrestleMania match at LA.
Mm-hmm. Which is where everyone thinks the Roman Rock match should be. And I agree with that.
Yeah, I mentioned the not layer, but like a new layer
A
to
new
the Roman
dynamic.
story dynamic to the Roman story when Brock came and when Jay first started. This is going to be an interesting dynamic. This
I feel is going to be the final boss for Roman.
Yes, because like Roman's whole thing is like he's the head of the table, like the head of the family, the tribal chief.
And if there's anyone ahead of him,
yes,
it would
anyone
be
that
Rock.
can dispute that's Dwayne. So
and of course Roman's gonna call him Dwayne in the promos. You just know.
Yeah. If this does happen, then like because like I think we mentioned it before with another fight wrestler, I can't forget who, but the thing about Roman, he does not fight from underneath.
Yeah.
Even with Brock, it was like equals, but most of the time it's Roman as the not superior, but like he's fighting from top. There's someone else like Jay or Cesaro or Danielson or Rollins fighting from underneath. Roman does not fight from underneath. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
He has not fought from underneath since 2002, with the exception of the Hogan matches.
Yeah.
So Roman will have to fight from underneath because, like, let's be honest, it doesn't matter how long he's been away.
He'll still get a big pop.
Dwayne Johnson washes Roman in promos.
Yeah, by far.
Like, yes. Like
he'll do the whole The Rock shtick.
He'll play the greatest hits.
Yeah.
If he needs to, he can get serious.
Yeah. Because he's done serious movies.
Yes.
He's not just an action hero. He's done a couple of dramas, I think.
Yeah. Well, those were really action dramas, but yeah.
Yeah. And he's done kids movies too, so he can apply everything he learned in Hollywood to this feud.
Yes. And that's another reason I want to, because do you think Rock beats Roman? Like, take the title out of consideration. Does Rock beat Roman?
To me, if it's without the title, maybe.
Because we know the reports were there.
It's a hard thing.
Yes.
Because like if it was with the title, Vince would put the title on Dwayne.
No, I think if it was with the title, Roman wins. I do not think they have.
Yeah.
I hope they don't. But that brings me, because like another like reports from around 2020, 2021 were like Vince wants to turn Roman face again. Because like the tribal chief character, not the tribal chief, but this badass that Roman would get cheered.
Yeah, because it became beloved so quick.
Yeah. So my question is, if he wins or if he loses, does Roman turn face after that match? Because he's done all he could do as a
I
heel.
think win or lose, there will be some sort of shake hands or hug.
Yes. And Roman turns, and because the problem with Roman before was he was the Shield.
Yeah, he was the living embodiment of what was left of the Shield.
Yes, and people didn't
for so long
because like they considered Roman to be part of the Shield. Everyone loved Roman. Don't get me wrong, but there were other parts of the Shield, and people did not like Roman just carrying the flag. Like Seth Rollins became the architect. He became the visionary. He became like Monday Night Rollins.
And now he's Seth freaking Rollins, and
Dean became the lunatic fringe, and he really embraced that character.
Then he brought back John Moxley and became
but
the megastar that he
is. And like Roman was the Shield. Like what you got in the Shield was what you got later. But this new character, this badass who like wants to fight for his family, that's not something he's done as a face. That could be interesting.
Yeah, and they've kind of teased that with the Brock feud.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But
right now, they didn't flat out turn both.
I thought they were going to do
which they could have, but
I thought it was going to be a double turn because I was like, no way Heyman's going to be face for long.
No,
like Paul Heyman does not work as a face.
No, he's tried, but they turned him and Brock immediately.
Yeah,
I think they tried that in like late 2015 because Seth was still heel, and like they did the whole thing with like they
Brock was that's punishment from the authority of Triple H because he was getting too cocky.
Yeah.
So Brock occupied a little like anti-hero role.
Yeah, it was kind of what the BCC is now.
Yeah, except everyone loves the BCC. Not a lot of people love, but that's for a Brock episode. Later, right? But the one reason we talked about Roman is because, like I said before, he is one of the most interesting characters in WWE right now.
Oh, for sure.
Yes,
he's. I think it goes him, Cody, Brock, and
we don't know if Brock's still there. Brock might have just decided to retire after WrestleMania. That's to be seen.
Probably. We'll see. If not, just put him with Cody next year at Mania. I don't care.
Yeah.
That's probably what they'll do if Cody's champion by that point.
Yeah. How long do you think they have to keep both titles? Because like we were thinking he would vacate one like the week after the Rumble.
Yeah. I think
not the Rumble, but the Mania because like we thought he was injured.
I think they'll keep it until they have a new champion for both.
Yeah. But I don't want Cody to be the first person to pin. He probably
me
will,
too.
Because...
I'm not saying he's going to be the first person to pin Roman. I'm saying it's going to be Universal, then WWE.
Oh, okay. That's a long time. But yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, have it be like have the Breaker win be next month or whatever. And then have the Cody win be at SummerSlam. Or even at Mania. Like Mania, Cody winning the title would be a big moment.
Yeah, they might vacate the title though. I still think Roman vacates the WWE title. I'm not sure why, but like I have a feeling he'll vacate it.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
we just have to do what they say and let it play out.
Yeah. But we did with Danielson, so let's do with Roman.
Yep.
Imagine a Roman Reigns tribal chief that goes on to the Indies, not in the Indies, but like anywhere in wrestling.
A post WWE run.
You have 5 dream opponents for him. It could be WWE, like you could say Braun Breaker or something.
Yeah,
you have 5 dream opponents.
I'll start flat out with saying Okada.
Roman Reigns versus Okada.
I think that could be good. At number 2, I'll have to say this version of Jon Moxley.
Yeah.
Because I think this version of Jon Moxley would be interesting. Number 3, I would have to say, I guess I got to keep it in the Blackpool Combat Club and say Bryan Danielson. Because Bryan Danielson's even on fire right now.
Yeah.
We're going to get it soon, but I'm going to say Cody. I'm going to say Tanahashi. Yeah, Tana.
Yeah.
And then that's it, I guess.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to keep most of mine in the WWE family because I have Braun.
Yeah.
I want to see Mr. Santos. I want to see a solo match.
Sequoia. Solo versus Roman has to happen.
Yeah. Jon Moxley. That one is very good.
Yeah.
And then this is hard because I can't see Roman outside the WWE.
I could, but it would have to be this current version of him.
Give me Keith Lee.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns versus Keith Lee. That's my 5. But yeah, that was a good talk. We mostly talked about Dean Ambrose for some reason. But I think we got we talked about Roman Reigns, we talked about his ascent, we talked about his new character.
We recapped his upbringing. We talked about his football career. We talked about his short time in FCW. We talked about his time with the Shield. We talked about his post-Shield run and his ascent to stardom, and like, of course,
we talked about the whole Roman Reigns experience pretty much.
Yeah,
we skipped out a couple of things, but like
we
those weren't interesting.
We talked about the stuff that people actually still care about.
yes. But anyways, that'll do it for us from this episode of the Autonomy of a Wrestler. I'm Daniel. That's Sam. You can find me at DJ Wrestling Fan.
You can follow me at SamUpWrestle. You can follow the podcast at Squared Post Pod. And that does it for this episode. Like and subscribe if you're new. Punch that notification bell also so you don't miss an upload. And as always,
thank you.